We are fired up and ready to go for the start of this series against the Guardians, and this man will get the ball. Noah Schultz, we take a look at what he did in his last outing. That was following the opener, Jordan Hicks, in Tampa Bay. He's starting to put it together here. 5 innings, only gave up 3 hits. The key was no walks, 4 strikeouts. White Sox could use some length from him tonight as they used 7 relievers in that game last night. What is up, everybody? Welcome inside the booth alongside my guy. He's Steve Stone. I'm John Schriffen. A really, really tough loss last night. The White Sox were going toe-to-toe with the Red Sox, unfortunately losing in 13 innings. The positive, first multi-home run game from Chase Meidroth. And Steve, he has just been so hot lately.
There is no doubt that Chase Meidroth is getting hot at the perfect time for the Sox because these are critical games, and lately he's been on fire. Batting average of .319 over the last 14 games. The on-base percentage .431. That's otherworldly. Slugging percentage is great. 7 extra base hits. He's driven in 12. He's scored 10. And 28 multi-hit games this year. That leads the team in that department. This is a big one for the Sox. They have flushed the Boston experience. That's gone. And now it's the Guardians. They've come to play, and they're in second place for the moment.
Coming up, a big series. It is also Friday night All Access presented by Blue Moon. We peel back the curtain. We give you the access. First up on the mic, Grant Taylor with Brooke when we come back.
Introducing Blue Chew Gold, because
It gets through! White Sox walk it off! Oh my. That's how we end it here in Cleveland. They made the catch! They've done it again! Hey! Get out!
Welcome back to Friday Night All Access, brought to you by Blue Moon, and I'm here with Grant Taylor. Grant, you have been good all season, but I feel like you've just kicked it up a notch since the All-Star break. What's been working well for you on the mound?
Yeah, just been really trying to execute pitches in the zone. Keep it simple, get to 2 strikes as early as possible.
Will has praised you for just serving different roles out of the pen, serving multiple innings. Just what do you attest that to, and how do you stay ready when your name is called?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I take pride in being able to do different things, and it's been a lot of fun. I think I can credit to some of the bullpen guys who've done it before, like Sean Newcomb and, even Fetty, being able to, ask those guys questions and figure out what works best with me.
All right, Grant, we appreciate you. Guys, back to you up in the booth.
All right, Brooke, Grant, thank you so much. Bring them out, bring them out. Here is the young, tall left-hander, Noah Schultz, hoping to build off of what he did in Tampa Bay. White Sox could certainly use some length out of him tonight.
And although he wasn't a starter in that game, he is tonight. This a big outing for him, a big outing for the Sox as they want to put a little more daylight between themselves and the Guardians. The Guardians have been struggling lately, and the Sox hoping that continues.
All right, let's take a look at the starting lineup for the visiting Cleveland Guardians. Stephen Kwan leads things off at the top. DeLauder, Jose Ramirez, we have not seen him against the White Sox this season, so his first appearance in the lineup. Joe Adell recently acquired. Angel Martinez, Hoskins, Roquio Hedges. That's the starters for the Guardians.
And there's a look at Noah Schultz on for his 14th start, 15th appearance. ERA is up higher than he would like, and the command is starting to get there. The hard hit rate is 40%. It'll be lower than that as he moves along during the course of his career. The stuff is very good. He wants to throw strikes with it, and this is how he's going to use his stuff. The sinker, which is a 2-seam fastball, 26%, backed up by the 4-seamer. Then the cutter, all forms of fastballs, the sweeper, the changeup, and don't look for too many curves. Let's take a look at the defense and how Will lines them up this beautiful night for baseball. It's Grichuk, Doyle, and Montgomery in the outfield left to right, with Colson, Luis Angel, Chase, and Miguel at first base. Edgar Caro's got the plate. We told you about the hard-throwing young left-hander on the hill.
All right, we are ready for baseball on this Friday night in Chicago. Noah Schultz, his delivery, and he fires in a sinker, strike 1.
Grichuk has got to be very careful with Kwan up. He likes to go to left and left center field, and Grichuk is in sunshine.
Stephen Kwan shows bunt, and he offers that one, strike 2. Enters play tonight with a 22 on base streak, 22 game on base streak. where he is hitting .410 and 10 runs scored. Sweeper just missing up. Ball 1 here to Kwan.
Well, he's normally one of the toughest guys in baseball to strike out.
A little hot, a little humid here in Chicago. Is that one off the knob of the bat of Kwan?
He's lucky to get out of the way of that. Closes his eyes, tries to regroup.
Oh, excuse me. Hit the barrel.
Got a little of the barrel.
One-two pitch here from Schultz. That has been the key for the young left-hander. Try to get a little more depth on that breaking ball. Hasn't been able to put both together where he's in the zone and he's getting good movement on his pitches.
He just has to remember back to what he felt like at Tampa Bay. He wasn't a starter in that one. That differs in this one.
Slashed into left field. Stephen Kwan at now a 23-game on-base streak.
The weather's presented by Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. 81 degrees, humidity up there at 74%. The wind not much of a factor. 5 miles an hour, right field to left field. And there you look at Austin Jones. Calls strikes within 5% of Major League average to all zones. And that's good.
Steve, it's good to be back with you, but I know you got rest. The team did not get much sleep last night, landing here in Chicago after that marathon game at 3 in the morning.
You know, as I listened to it to see where it was unfolding, I actually stayed up in simpatico with the rest of this team. So I was way up there.
Just running out of room is Grichuk in left. Everything was pushed back today, so Will Venable wanted to take care of his guys, just pushing all activities back an hour or two. Also because they're so familiar with this Guardians team, these guys can get dialed in very quickly with their scouting reports.
And it's usually not the day of that's going to affect you. It's going to be tomorrow. That's also going to be a night game, only a little sooner than this one was tonight. That's a 6:10 start, and it's Ozzie Guillen night. They're going to retire the number 13. And Ozzie, a huge fan favorite here, is going to have his night all to himself. He's going to love it, and so are the fans.
0-2 the count here on Chase DeLauder. And the snap throw to first. The good news is the battery of Schultz on the mound and Kara behind the plate. Both of those guys are well rested because Schultz was flown ahead to Chicago before the game ever ended, and Edgar Carroll called up from AAA. Swing and a miss on the curveball. First strikeout of the night.
There you see the spin, and this one does get some depth. DeLauder, who's having a pretty solid year to this point, especially since coming off the injured list, goes down on strikes.
So Jose Ramirez pretty much day to day right now, dealing with that hamate bone injury in his left hand. He's trying to deal with the pain tolerance right now.
He probably shouldn't be playing, but he realizes how important this game is to the Guardians. You look at those numbers, not his usual numbers. The power hasn't been there. However, he usually does pretty well against the Sox.
Now that hamate bone is on the bottom of the hand, so it's close to the knob of the bat. So for him, and especially, he will feel it hitting from the right side of the plate.
He says he's in pain pretty much constantly because of the rubbing of the bat. And the one thing that the Guardians are going to try to do, because they've always had Jose Ramirez as their superstar. They built around him. He was in the middle of this lineup. He played every day. But now it's not the same guy. Now it's a guy trying to recapture past glory, but an injury has kept him down somewhat.
1-2 from Schultz. Where he will really feel it is the deceleration, trying to check that swing and really control it with that bottom left hand. Let's see if Schultz can take advantage of it here tonight. And another check on Kwan at first. That's the second throw over.
I mean, Kwan is one of those guys that runs pretty well. But he's only swiped 8 bases all year. Now he's very much in the driver's seat with 2 throws over there.
Schultz had been ahead against all 3 batters that he's faced tonight, as this one now goes full against Ramirez.
I would think that Kwan would be running. So you got an opportunity here to strike him out, throw him out. But first things first, you got to get by Ramirez.
There he goes, hit on the ground and into left center field. So Kwan was on the move. He will stop at third. And a couple of singles here in this first inning, and the Guardians are threatening.
That's a 2-seam fastball. You don't want it this high. That's built to be a sinker. And Ramirez does take it through the left side. One of the reasons they got Adele from the Angels was that he hits left-handers pretty well. He struggles against some of the right-handers, but the lefties he does a nice job against.
First and third with 1 out. How about all the moves that were made in the division at the trade deadline? Obviously the White Sox very active, but Cleveland and Minnesota picking up some key pieces.
Cleveland thinks they did a real good job, and that remains to be seen. But Adele is one of the guys that they targeted. One of the reasons why you target him is this is primarily a left-hand hitting team. I mean, the Guardians have left-handers till the cows come home. They wanted some right-handed thump. They feel Adele is that guy. However, he has grounded into 12 double plays. Thought I would throw that in there.
Runner goes. Carroll unable to get a clean transfer. So 2 now in scoring position. As it goes as a stolen base for Ramirez.
I'm not sure if Edgar was going to throw through or not. But it becomes a moot point as he drops the ball.
So the infield for the White Sox now comes in. Ooh. The question is, did he swing the appeal to first? Say he did not. And Adele will be hit by that pitch.
It's Andy Fletcher at first base. They want to take a look at it. Catches him off the right wrist. Maybe a little of the forearm. Yeah, that hit him pretty solid. Zach Bove comes out to have a word with Noah Schultz, who finds himself with the bases loaded. No place to put Martinez.
Seems like guys who get acquired at the deadline are just getting hit by pitches at the plate. Curtis Mead injured for the Red Sox. Joey Bart injured for the White Sox. And Joe Adele just got hit there. Bases loaded, 1 out. One of their young stars on Angel Martinez. Slashes this one into left field as Grichuk will have to play it off the wall. 2 runs will score. And it's the Guardians taking an early lead to start this game.
Martinez winds up with a single. This is down and out over the plate. And he just crushes this ball one hop to the wall. No chance at all for Grichuk in left field as the Guardians strike early.
How did he end up at first base with that throw going to third?
That's a question Stephen Vogt is probably asking also.
So Will Venable now making an early walk to the mound.
Well, Zach Bove was already out there. This is the second time he's got to remove Schultz. Unless they called something when Bove went out there. Might have been inquiring about the health of Noah Schultz. Stephen Vogt can't believe it. He thinks that Noah should be coming out of this game.
Well, the White Sox are going to get activity quickly in their bullpen right now.
Chicago's made a second visit to the mound. The pitcher must pitch to this batter, and then the pitcher must be removed.
And Stephen Vogt is wondering why he has to pitch to this hitter.
So David Sandlin, who was just called up today, is now warming in the White Sox bullpen.
Andy Fletcher now will have a word with Stephen Vogt. And now the umpires are going to meet. I was always under the impression that on that second trip you have to remove the pitcher.
The question when I saw Will Venable, I was wondering if they were going to check on the health of Noah Schultz.
Now he's going to call Will out again, and he's going to explain it to him.
So now that Schultz has to exit this game, Will Venable can complete the mound visit and have a conversation with us.
Correction. The White Sox came out to two different hitters. Therefore, the pitcher must be in the same inning. Therefore, the pitcher must be removed from the game now.
That's how I always felt the rules stated. And so this is not surprising. The surprising thing is Will's second trip to the mound. So David Sandlin's going to come in. Noah Schultz is going to depart. And this an ominous beginning to a very important game for the Sox.
If I have a vision, I can make it happen.
Of Merrillville. And it is David Sandlin who's on for the fifth time. His ERA up over 6. He's going to inherit runners at the corners. There's only one out here, and it is the top of the first inning. Sox trailing by a pair.
First baseman Rhys Hoskins, as that cutter does land from Sandlin. He is fully stretched out, so he will provide some length for the White Sox here tonight. But Noah Schultz will leave this game after recording just 1 out tonight.
Got to keep a close eye on Martinez. He is a pretty good base stealer. He swiped 9 of them, been caught just twice.
White Sox are in a bind here tonight, using 8 pitchers last night including 7 relievers who had to cover 8 1/3 innings pitched.
And as we know, a long way to go in this one. Martinez with a very big lead at first base.
Good pitch from Sandlin as he strikes out the first batter he faces tonight.
That's where they try to go on Hoskins, and that's high fastballs. There's his four-seamer. And Hoskins just swings through it. That's a big out.
Grounded up the middle. It is Majdroff with a backhand, a throw to first. Got him! What a play by Chase Majdroff.
Great play, great pick, and they're going to want to take a look at it in the Cleveland dugout. Stephen Vogt says, not quite yet. Let's see. And play on. It's out of the inning with just 2 runs. Nice pick by Vargas.
The top, followed by Murakami, Vargas, Grichuk in left. Colson Montgomery's at third, Doyle, Montgomery, Carroll, and Luis Angel Acuna at short.
Let's take a look at Parker Messick on for his 23rd start. The ERA a tick above 2.5. He's been really good. 128 strikeouts, just 37 walks. Sox have seen him a couple times this year. He has yet to beat them. This is how he's going to use his stuff. Four-seam fastball he uses the most, backed up by the change, which is a good one. Then the sinker, the curveball, not many cutters or sliders.
Chase Majdroff slashes it down the line. That's a fair ball. Adele will get it back in. And a leadoff double for Chase Majdroff, who stays red hot at the plate.
This double is brought to you by Elgin Hyundai, home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile double warranty. A rocket of a line drive, just barely hitting the line with Andy Fletcher on the call, and it's easy for Chase to run it into 2.
Munetaka Murakami, the DH here tonight, as Will Venable is trying to rotate his big 3 in Vargas, Murakami, and Colson Montgomery through that DH to get them some rest here in August. He will pop this one up. Hoskins, first baseman, and he makes the grab. Let's go to Brooke for a scoop from the clubhouse.
Well, John, just an update on Joey Bart after leaving last night's game with a fracture in that left hand. We heard from Chris Getz today, and he said he's expected to be out for over a month. You know, he was supposed to be kind of that guy to fill in with Kyle Teal, expected to be back hopefully soon and really help this team make a push for the postseason. But Edgar Carroll was called up today. See him behind the plate. He's going to continue to split reps with Drew Romo. Will Venable told me he's not worried. These guys have been doing it all season long. But Chris did say, you know, the catching position, it's been fluid this season, and you can expect it to be fluid as the season continues, guys.
All right, Brooke, thank you so much for that update. We will have Chris Getz, general manager for this team, throughout the entire second inning in the booth with us. And that is one of the things that we will talk about, just his approach to now the catching position as we move forward these final 2 months.
Well, he was pretty certain that he shored up that position until the break. And this is where you do give Vargas a 3-0 green light if he wants it. Messick is not easy to score against. You have a golden opportunity here in the first inning.
He did get it. A swing so big he went down to a knee.
Once you got the green light, you might as well air it out.
3-1. The other big swing that he fouls straight back.
This is where we've seen Messick in the past go to that straight change, which is normally a good one, as Randall Grichuk waits patiently in the on-deck circle.
Strike 3 called, and now a challenge from
The previous pitch was
Vargas.
called a strike. The batter is challenging.
I think Miguel's going to lose this one, but we'll take a look.
ABS is powered by T-Mobile.
Calls confirmed. Chicago has 1 challenge remaining.
All right, Randall Grichuk is mic'd up for us tonight as part of Friday Night All Access, brought to you by Blue Moon. Let's take a listen.
Are you going to the concert? We don't have kids, so we're gonna go. Bro, our division's getting tight. Bro, it's us. And they're all 3 like tied. That sun is brutal. It's brutal. Yeah, if he had a line drive right at me, I had no chance.
All right, thanks to Randall Grichuk. Talking about the standings, White Sox with a 3-game lead in the division over Cleveland and Minnesota, tied for second, and 3.5-game lead over the Tigers. He is also talking about Ja Rule coming up, the post-game concert for the many fans in attendance here this Friday night. One. Grichuk pops this one up as Hoskins drifts in foul territory. And that'll do it for this first inning. When we come back Friday night, All Access presented by Blue Moon, we will have the general manager, Chris Getz, fresh off the trade deadline. All the moves, we will break it down, and the future of the Sox heading towards a playoff push. Welcome back. Top of the second inning. White Sox trail 2-0. This half inning is brought to you by Wintrust. Friday Night All Access presented by Blue Moon. And we are pleased to be joined by the general manager, Chris Getz, in the booth with us all second inning. Appreciate you joining us. I know you're getting a little more sleep now with the trade deadline in the rearview mirror. Can you just walk us through how you attacked the deadline this year?
Well, you know, every deadline, here we got a play right there. Got it out on the board. Every deadline is different. You know, a lot of it's just how the league is set up. And a couple weeks out from the actual, you know, I guess August 3rd deadline, which that was the date this year, you start reaching out to clubs, or clubs reach out to you, and you get an idea of what everyone's trying to accomplish in the coming weeks. Now, the unique thing about this deadline, I would say, is there were so many teams, especially on the AL, that hadn't gotten quite enough clarity on which direction they were going to go. And so every day, almost, you know, every day seemed to be more significant than perhaps any other time during the season.
There's Acuna up the middle. A couple ground ball outs to start this second.
And as we got closer, you know, they're obviously we're able to provide a little bit more information, but starting pitching is always something that's sought after at a deadline, and certainly we expressed interest in bringing in starting pitching. Obviously, bullpen is one that always gets a lot of attention, and then various areas, you know, across the diamond that you're looking to improve. So, yeah, it's an interesting time when you're approaching deadlines. This year, you know, thankfully we're looking to add to the major league club, and we were able to accomplish that a little bit different from years past, and feel really good about what we accomplished. And I think primarily a lot of that was, all right, we want to add to this club. We don't want to lose sight of our future and what has gotten us here. We were able to maintain, you know, the high-end prospects in our system, bring in some talent to help this club that also have some control in future years. So I feel like it was a quality deadline for the Chicago White Sox.
So Acuna unable to make the play as this top of the second will continue.
You addressed the catching situation only to find that the catcher that you acquired broke a bone in his hand. So now what happens with the catching situation?
Yeah, what a tough outcome for Joey Bart, and certainly the Chicago White Sox, when you go out there and you feel like you're acquiring a position, a player that can go out there and help the club, and then to lose him as quickly as we did, that's a bummer. But we're not going to sit here and feel bad for ourselves. That's just not how we're going to operate. So we brought Edgar Carroll back up today, and you know, hopefully he can step up, and he and Drew Romer are going to ham and egg the responsibilities behind the plate. We've got Eric Haas in AAA. We've got Corey Lee that many are familiar with as well. And then, of course, we've got Kyle Teal that is recovering right now, and hopefully to get him back in the coming weeks. And of course, Joey as well once that bone gets healed up.
The big splash was Luis Castillo acquiring a 3-time All-Star to add to the starting rotation. Took the ball yesterday in Boston. What'd you think of his outing?
I thought he pitched pretty well. I did, and I think anyone that was watching that outing, certainly I was, can see that this guy's going to help us. He's going to be able to give us innings. He's got experience in a group that doesn't have a lot of starter innings. We're bottom of the league, so Luis Castillo is a good addition to the White Sox.
All right, we'll continue this conversation after the break. Welcome back. Bottom of the second. White Sox trail the Guardians 2-0. We're joined here in the booth by General Manager Chris Getz. We were talking about Luis Castillo and just your thoughts on his outing and now what he adds to this staff these final 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, he's got multiple pitches. He's got an ability to get both-sided hitters out. Yesterday thought he could go to perhaps secondary pitches a little bit more than he did. I think it was around 73% fastballs. Boston, man, they're as hot as anyone right now. We're talking about a club that can do no wrong. They're pretty much nails when it comes to offensive game, defensively, base running, everything that goes into winning baseball games. But just overall looking at that outing, but also just the body of work Luis Castillo adding to this young rotation. We're at the bottom of the league in terms of starter innings, and be able to inject someone like Luis Castillo that posts, takes care of himself on and off the field, good leader just to have, amongst our staff. So excited to have him, and we've got him for 2 years, and I think it's going to be a nice boost for us.
Well, you guys were exhausted because the player draft, the free agent draft, and the trade deadline were pretty close to one another. Do you see that continuing the way it was, or do you see them making an adjustment and moving things back to the way it was?
There's been discussions of having the draft earlier. Years ago, it used to be in June, and it's gotten a little bit closer to the deadline. I think anyone that's working in offices or organizations would prefer to get a little bit more of a gap, just because they do operate on top of each other. And I think when you think about the players that you're acquiring when these college seasons are ending, but also these high school seasons are ending, by the time the draft comes around, some of these guys have barely picked up a baseball, and to get their careers going, get them started at low minor leagues or even complex league or instructional leagues, it's a really difficult thing to do. You have to build them up, and you want to do it responsibly, just because the talent that you're bringing in. So I think the league would benefit by creating a little bit more of a gap. Certainly have voiced that, like many others, and hopefully there's some adjustments here in the near future.
So Colson Montgomery will pop out to start this home half of the second. I just wanted to wrap up the discussion on Boston, because I thought it was a very unique environment last night. It was a wild game going back and forth. These young guys going toe-to-toe with the hottest team in the league. Is there something that you think this young team can learn from that experience last night?
Well, anytime you go to Fenway, talk about a real baseball environment, and for young players to go there, they're sellout crowds, they're playing really well. Just the Fenway setup, looking at the dugout, the green monster, where the on-deck circle is, how you feel when you're in the box or any part of the field. It's unique to any other stadium and field that's out there. So that in itself, I think is significant. And then to be going against a team that's playing as well as they are right now, and obviously we've been happy with what we've been able to accomplish with the group that we have here. And now we're going down the final stretch here, the last 2 months of the season. I think there's a lot of positive takeaways, and you look at last night, we stayed in that game. Obviously, we had opportunities to close it out. We weren't able to do it, but that was a playoff type atmosphere against a really good baseball team that has a good chance to play in October. Unfortunately, we were on the short side of that, but I do think we're going to benefit in the long run.
So your ball club is pretty close to where it's going to be the rest of the way. Do you have anything planned as far as adjustments you're going to make? I mean, obviously everybody could use another pitcher, but the trade deadline is gone. So how's that going to play out for the Sox this year?
Well, we're still going to use players that are in AAA or in the minor leagues. You use the 40-man roster. We've got, some arms, Hagen Smith and Tanner McDougal. that are pitching well in bullpen roles. There isn't necessarily a need at the moment. We know that there's going to be a need in the future. You know, going back to being mindful of some of the innings and going into uncharted territory of late season, you know, preparing for potentially pitching in October. We're going to need some help. Guys are going to need breaks. Unfortunately, there's probably going to be some injuries here and there. We hope to avoid anything major. But we've got to keep guys prepared and ready to go to step up if a need arises.
There's 2 outs and 2 strikes, but I do want to get this in. Rock Chalowski hit his first professional home run. What are the reports? What have you seen from him so far?
His at-bats have been solid. I mean, to get that first home run on the board in opposite field homer, you know, he's hit a ground ball up the middle for his first hit. I think he was credited with a double, but looked very much like a single to me. But last night, bases clearing double and then hit a home run. He's making the plays defensively. So just a good start to Rock Chalowski's career in the White Sox organization. And it's fun just to have something to follow on a regular basis, something new that's off your major league club, and certainly help think about the future even brighter than it is right now.
How do you judge the growth of a player like that? How fast you can move him through the system?
You know, they'll let you know. I mean, when you're talking about a position.
Deep shot to center field off the bat of Braden Montgomery. Back he goes. It is gone. White Sox get on the board here in the second inning as Braden Montgomery goes deep. His 4th home run of the season. Chris, you might have to stay with us in the booth here.
Hey, if that means home runs are coming, I'll stay here all night. And when you ask me about young players, if they're ready for the big leagues, if they're doing stuff like that, that's a pretty good sign that perhaps they need some more major league at-bats to help the major league club.
Let's talk a little bit about Braden, because this is a guy that hits a lot of line drives and a lot of ground balls, but you can tell by the size and the strength of the guy, he's going to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Do you see that happening for him?
Yeah, his engine is as significant as anyone. Maybe, you know, a Murakami, someone like that. But he can do a lot. Yeah, there's a learning curve to the major leagues, but his survival skills are there. He's playing solid defense, and he's getting big hits like he has tonight.
All right, Chris Getz, general manager of the White Sox. Appreciate your time. If we need another home run, we're going to call on you to come back.
I'll be ready.
All right. Appreciate you. White Sox trail 2-1 after 2 here in Chicago.
Welcome back to Friday Night All Access, brought to you by Blue Moon, and I'm here with hitting coach Derek Showman and the assistant hitting coach Mike Vassell. Gentlemen, I appreciate you taking the time here. You're going up against Parker Messick again tonight. Just how does that familiarity with him on the mound just impact your overall game plan?
Yeah, especially for young guys, having seen him, twice now, once at home, once on the road, just gives you a general idea of how you think he's going to attack us. And seeing him recently, always helps.
When you're building a lineup based off the opposing pitcher, when do those conversations start? Are they the night before? Are they the day of? How do you go about those conversations?
Yeah, I think the staff works to try and have those conversations early and often going into a series, and then it continues throughout the series.
Listen, Chase Meidroth, he's so hot at the plate right now, Mike.
Yeah.
What is he doing, or what is he not doing that you think is leading to this success?
Well, the first thing with Chase is you got to know what type of guy he is. I try and keep him calm at night, make sure he gets to bed well rested. He's a funny little guy. He means well in so many ways. That's a water bottle. Just hit me in the face. Look, Chase just needed a little trip to Boston. He was a monster a couple times, and this guy's going to get going.
Yeah, you're his roommate. How much credit do you take, to his success?
I don't know what just hit me. I don't necessarily think I take credit for his success. He works so hard every day. I think, mostly with him, what I do is I just make sure, he's in the right mindset every single day. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Brady Montgomery with that homer, we talk about how well he's doing at the plate, but we knew the power was there. What was it like just to see him finally get a hold of one?
Good, very good. I know he feels like he needed it. Kid works hard every single day. It's never a lack of work with him. So I know that one felt good for him.
All right, I'm going to save you two, so I don't know what's coming towards you now, but I'm going to save you guys, and we're going to send it up to the booth, unless you have a final word.
Look, Davis Martin, I know you've got a child at home, but a water bottle? Really? A water bottle? And a rosin bag, apparently. Very excessive. All right.
All right, guys, back to you.
Thanks, bro.
It's what makes this team special. They have fun. They are loose. They can play around with each other. That's how you can tell they can shake things off. That series in Boston, it doesn't even affect what happens going forward.
Well, now, finally, we know what the assistant to the assistant hitting coach actually does. He acts as a protector for Derek Showman, making sure that he doesn't get hit with a rosin bag or a water bottle.
It does feel like the object should get. Oh, yeah, watch out.
There's a rosin bag. Again, you're protecting the actual hitting coach, which is something the assistant to the assistant hitting coach usually does.
I will say, he got hit and didn't even flinch. Brooke did a really nice job as well. There was stuff coming from every direction, and Brooke, you kept your composure. Very nicely done.
Guys, I think I might have seeds or gum or something in my hair. I might need somebody to come check me out. But the rosin bag, that's what threw me off. I just saw a powder of chalk just come from Mike Vassell. So I knew we had to get out of there. I didn't know what was coming next.
All right, look, they've got a magic wand. Maybe there'll be a magic rosin bag at some point. Who knows? Angel Martinez with a 2-run single his first time up. That was the last batter that Noah Schultz faced in that first inning. Still don't exactly know what happened there. As this one is grounded to first as Vargas steps on the bag. A nice job by David Sandlin, retiring the Guardians in order in the third. When we come back, the pitching coach, Zach Bove, will be on the mic with Brooke.
Welcome back to Friday Night All Access, brought to you by Blue Moon, and I'm here with pitching coach Zach Bove. Zach, early exit for Noah here, but what do you make of just the jobs David Sandlin's done so far?
Yeah, he's been great. Like, he's come in, right, maybe not in ideal circumstances, but he's filled it up. He's given us the innings that we need, and feel good about the next couple.
You talk about the innings that you need. We know the bullpen is taxed, so how does this impact how you're managing the bullpen the rest of the way?
Yeah, it's just a good opportunity for everyone to step up, for starting with Sandlin, and then the other guys that are available to kind of fill it up.
At least it's not a rosin bag, don't worry. Okay, Chris Getz talked about how you guys have to get creative with just how this pitching staff goes about its business the rest of the way. What does that do for you, and just when guys are trying to cover innings and you're trying to manage workloads?
Yeah, it's a challenge, but it's a good challenge. What we got here?
Rosin bag.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think like the whole message from the get-go is like putting guys in position to succeed while also being open to maybe pitching in different roles that they haven't pitched before. So I think we're seeing that right now.
I see Luis Castillo laughing back here, getting a taste of what this rotation is like. What has he done for this group so far?
No, he's been like great so far, and like we've heard great things from his time with Seattle. I think he's realizing like it's a very fun group. Don't take ourselves too serious, and I think he's going to fit in great.
Yeah, what's the value he brings? Just his experience and just how long he's been in the big leagues.
Yeah, I think it's someone that the guys can like look to, right? Has those experiences. You know, obviously pitching in big games, been successful for, you know, the past 7-8 years. So it's just something that they can lean on and just understand the ups and downs that comes with being a starter.
All right, Zach, I appreciate you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Guys, back to you.
All right, Brooke, good stuff. When we talked to Luis Castillo in Boston, he was excited about this opportunity coming to the White Sox, being a part of a 5-man rotation. After watching that, he might be thinking to himself, what did I get myself into with these guys?
Well, I think he's going to be very happy to be with a team that's not only in the thick of the race, but actually leading the race for the postseason. Anytime you get an opportunity to do that, even a veteran, it gives you a little bit more energy than you'd normally take to the mound.
The thing that stood out at the deadline with all the acquisitions, they noticed how much fun this White Sox team is having, and now Castillo getting to experience it firsthand, his first time with the White Sox here in Chicago.
Right now the Sox trying to get to Messick. He doesn't have his great stuff, and he's fallen behind hitters tonight. It's something he doesn't usually do.
Just 2 hits for the White Sox. Chase Mydroth led it off with a double. Sticks out the bat down the right field line, and that one foul. We've seen so many different swings from Chase Meidroth already this season. Started off with his typical just being patient, being pesky. Then he opened things up a little bit and really started swinging big, and now he's a lot more controlled. Parker Messick will field this one, and he will throw out Meidroth for out number 2. Time to get the phone out, because Munetaka Murakami is now at the plate.
We do know one thing. It's going to be very lively at the park tonight. The wind, not that much of a factor. It's blowing toward the left field corner. But we've seen if you can get the ball up in the air, it's going to travel.
Murakami popped out to first. There's the 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss on that high sinker. We have seen pitchers attack him upstairs with velocity.
And that's one of the things he's got to lay off, because there's very few guys can catch up to it upstairs.
As Messick with the fist pump as he strikes out Murakami to end the 3rd inning. Friday Night All Access presented by Blue Moon rolls on. When we come back, Will Venable, the manager, on the mic with Brooke.
Night All Access brought to you by Blue Moon, and I'm here with Will Venable. Will, can you take us through what happened there in the first with the early exit with Noah?
Yeah, that was a mistake by me. You know, lost track of the first visit there. We went out to go execute an appeal, and you know, yeah, just missed that. You know, kind of came into the day with the thought that we were going to have Sandlin and Schultz split the outing, and so Schultz had in a batter or two, in which we obviously had to move that up. Yeah, that was a mistake by me.
What do you make of the job Sandlin has done so far?
Oh, he's doing great. You know, he's executing his off-speed stuff really well. Good fastball. He's in a good spot.
All right, thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
All right, Brooke, thank you so much. Will Venable being accountable, and I think that's one of the things the players really respect about him, as he's always honest and upfront.
And also give some credit to Brooke. That's a question that had to be asked at this particular time. She asked it, got an answer where Will took full responsibility for making a mistake. Everybody makes them. He didn't try to skirt the issue. He went right at it. Now it's put to bed, and Sandlin is throwing great.
That is why we have Friday Night All Access presented by Blue Moon. In the meantime, David Sandlin has done a really nice job since coming into the game. Retired 8 of 9. As Rhys Hoskins leads things off here in the 4th. Look at that cutter. David Sandlin stepping up to the plate tonight.
So far, everything has been around the plate, and this is a great full count pitch. It's in a perfect spot. You can't be looking for that. Little cutter on the outside corner at the knees. A good wipeout pitch.
This half inning is brought to you by Toyota. Obviously an interesting situation. Will Venable walked us through just what happened, how he made the mistake. David Sandlin knew he was going to come in at some point, and now they need him to eat up a few more innings than what they had anticipated.
Well, there's no doubt it is a tired pen, and they're going to let David go as far as he can physically go.
Rocchio 0 for 1 with a ground out tonight. Well, you see Sandlin's feeling pretty good, humping it in there at 99.
Sometimes when you lean back, try to get a little extra, you don't have that great command. That one almost over Edgar's head, but 99 is pretty impressive.
Line drive center field. Doyle coming in. Oh, he made the play. Yes, he did. That's why the White Sox got him from the Rockies at the deadline. Doyle, a two-time Gold Glover.
It's time for our slide of the game, presented by Wisconsin Dells, the water park capital of the world. And what a play this was. Got a pretty good jump on it. Made sure once he does corral the baseball that he makes sure it doesn't come out of the glove. Because unlike football, the ground can cause a fumble in this game.
I know the Luis Castillo trade got a lot of the headlines. I really love the Brenton Doyle move. I think he's going to make an impact, and he just showed it there with the glove.
Well, you got to have a guy that can cover everything in center field, and he can certainly do that.
He's also hungry to be a part of a winner. He spent his entire career with the Rockies, and now he gets a new chance to potentially make the playoffs this year. The catcher, Austin Hedges. 2 balls and a strike.
What's been kind of amazing for Hedges is when you look at those career numbers, I mean, they're nowhere close to the 270 mark. That's where he is entering this at bat. So this has been by far the best offensive year that he's had, because he's around because of that glove. He's a great defender behind the plate.
2-2. Here's the payoff from Sandlin as the cutter stays up out of the zone. Ball 4, his first walk tonight. Angel Hanal 0 for 1 with a ground out in the second.
Wouldn't think you'd have to worry very much about Hedges at first base.
Just the 3rd big league game for the youngster. Set a franchise record with 4 hits in his major league debut on Wednesday, as he has 5 hits now in his first 2 big league games. Ground ball to Mydroth. And that'll do it for this top of the 4th. How about this catch in center by Doyle? Yeah, White Sox fans are going to love this dude.
No Slug Sox never had to not battle against adversity. We got this. Homer! Go, keep going. Wow. Wow. It's a good night to put the ball in the air.
Our thanks to Randall Grichuk, who is wearing the mic for us here tonight. He's been so key for these young guys. They've been picking his brain, not just about their approaches at the plate, just About this time right now, last 2 months in the regular season, what does it take to make a playoff push? And he's explained to these guys, you cannot get caught looking ahead. You've got to take each and every game seriously. As Vargas pops this one up in foul territory, Hoskins, and there's out number 1 in this bottom of the 4th.
One of the key things when you are talking with Randal Grichuk, it's not easy for a guy to come off the bench and hit. I'm not talking about getting 4 at bats in a situation where you're almost in a platoon system. I'm talking about late in the ball game. They ask you to come in a game. You have to be a veteran. You have to have some success. Randal has had that, and he's at 9 home runs for the Sox this year.
It's been fun to talk about this youth movement and this young core, but they can't have success without having a few veterans around them to guide them through this process.
As Messick moves along in this game, he's thrown that changeup a lot more, and it's been very effective.
0-2 the count here to Grichuk. And a swing and a miss on that changeup. And it's time for some news and notes. We go over to Connor.
An extra innings win for the Cubs. They beat the Blue Jays on a throwing error yesterday and lead baseball with walk-off wins. Hunter Green done for the year and maybe most of 27. He needs elbow surgery, though they're not sure what kind. Luis Arias now Phil's been hot. Guys, Jason Stark wrote this up the other day. Arias going to the Phillies marked the first time in MLB history a league's batting leader has been traded at the deadline. How about that?
Pretty impressive. But you figure the Giants, knowing it was his last year, figured they couldn't afford him down the road, so they moved him along to the Phillies.
How about the Red Sox? They just continue to pour it on. A 9-1 lead over the A's. That's in Boston, bottom of the 5th. I'm telling you, I have not seen a turnaround like what they are going through right now. They were 14 games under 500 and have turned into the hottest team in Major League Baseball.
They come in 12 over at this point with a huge lead in this one over the Athletics.
Parker Messick, he's got all types of emotions on the mound tonight. Back-to-back strikeouts. That's how we end the 4th.
Ozzie Guillen's place in White Sox history. Tune in at 4:30 for a CHSN special. Ozzie the Legend, followed by live jersey retirement ceremony presented by Chicagoland Toyota dealers. Don't miss it. That's tomorrow exclusively on CHSN.
Top of the 5th and top of the order for the Guardians. It is Stephen Kwan, who is 2 for 2 so far tonight, both singles.
Both pretty much in the same area. Pretty much right at a straightaway shortstop. Acuna playing him up the middle.
Grounds this one to Vargas. He will keep it himself. And the first time Kwan retired tonight. This half inning is brought to you by St. Xavier University. Ever been in a situation like this where you know you're supposed to pitch, but you come in just a little bit earlier than you thought?
Well, occasionally you wind up with some injuries, and if they tell you right away you're going to be the first man out of the pen.
Broken bat. That one is plunked into left field. So DeLauder will pick up his first hit of the night.
You just have to be ready whenever it is your number is called, because you know you're coming in. They can't tell you exactly when it is. In the case of Sandlin, he knew he was going to come in, and he knew he would probably pick up, well, let's call it 4 innings. Well, he's going to probably be asked to throw more than that now that he's in his 4th inning of work.
Now, from his standpoint, this is a huge opportunity for him.
It certainly is that, because you're just coming back to a team that you've been with. You're familiar with the guys. You need a big performance, and everybody in that dugout, and I'm talking about the Sox dugout, knows how important this game is coming off that series in Boston, and knowing that the whole division is starting to bunch up.
Cutter stays up out of the zone. 3-0 the count here to Ramirez. Big crowd here on Friday night for the start of this 3-game series against the Guardians. 3-0 swinging and fouls that one into the seats.
You got to keep a close eye on DeLauder, because he will run. He's 7 out of 9 in stolen bases.
So the second walk given up by Sandlin. It's time now for a message from Ankin Law.
Paulson, it's important to put the work in, isn't it?
Absolutely. Practicing early, staying late helps me stay locked in.
And if you've been injured, my team is here to help you. Call 312-6-million. Injury law made personal. That's Ankin Law.
Coming into tonight, Sandlin had an ERA on the road of 13.5. Much different here at the rate. Just an ERA of 1.5. As that one's going to hit Adele.
He gets hit for the second time tonight, and that does load him up. That one went right off Edgar's mask.
So a bases loaded jam with 1 out in this 5th inning. This one is driven deep to right field, and it is gone. Martinez with a grand slam. As the Guardians open it up here in the 5th.
We'll take another look at a cutter that stays on the inside part of the plate. That's our Lexus Experience Amazing home run replay. And it's amazing that Martinez has driven in 6 runs in the early going.
Most people talked about Jose Ramirez, his injury, and that loss to the lineup. But when you talk to people with Cleveland, it was Martinez who was really the engine for them early on this season when he got hurt. Broken bat over the head of Acuna. As the Guardians are starting to square up some baseballs.
Nobody up in the pen just yet. I would think they try to squeeze as much out of Sandlin as they can in this outing.
That one airmailed. As Edgar Carroll locates the baseball.
It's going to be a wild pitch, undoubtedly.
Good curveball as Rocchio swings over the top of that one. Strike two. Off the end of the bat into center as Doyle comes in to make the grab, out number 2. This is a central where nobody has been able to take command yet. The Guardians coming in since July 22nd, second worst record in baseball. Only the A's have been worse. 3-11 their last 14 games.
The Guardians haven't been scoring a whole lot of runs. That's why the 6 they have up there is somewhat interesting for them. Their starting pitching has been pretty good by and large, and the bullpen has had its moments, but it's been the offense that has really kept them down. Not in evidence here tonight if they put 6 early ones up.
We've been scoreboard watching with the White Sox on the road. And it was amazing to see the Mets just taking it to the Guardians, sweeping them in a 3-game series.
And scoring a whole lot of runs, especially when you trade away a good portion of your offense, which is what the Mets did.
This one's falling in left center as Hoskins will come around to score. RBI single for Hedges. And Cleveland has put up a 5 spot here in the 5th.
18 driven in by Hedges, and this is a breaking ball down. He gets off the end of the bat. It's going to bring Zach Bove out from the dugout. And the message here is pretty simple. Take a look at the pen. Nobody's loosening up. It's all you, pal.
Now, David Sandlin was called up due to the injury for lefty Chris Murphy, who went on the injured list with a left flexor strain. But this was not the plan to have him come into the game this early. Sandlin a couple deep breaths, trying to get the final out in this 5th inning.
If he can just get this final out, he will have gone 4 2/3 innings, which is approximately what Sox wanted him to do anyway, but that was going to be in relief of Noah Schultz, and as we know, it didn't work out that way.
Two. .25 pitches already in this inning, and this will be his 75th of the night. Well, we knew this was going to be a tough stretch for the White Sox. 13 straight games playing teams with records at .500 or better. Now the Guardians actually getting swept by the Mets, falling below .500. As Vargas will field that grounder and step on the bag. When we come back, Friday Night All Access presented by Blue Moon rolls on. Anthony K will be on the mic with Brooke after the break.
Welcome back to Friday Night All Access, brought to you by Blue Moon, and I'm here with Anthony K, who gets started tomorrow. Before we get started, got to make sure there's no rosin bags, gum, or seeds, but you're kind of the man behind all of that, Anthony.
It's not all me. I think it's a team effort, but I think I'm in the clear so far. I'm sure someone will come running out at some point to try and throw something at me.
I'll keep an eye out for you. But you are going up against this team, a team that you're very familiar with. When you have familiarity on both sides, how does that change the way you attack these hitters?
I mean, you kind of look at how you had success against them originally, and then you try and execute that again. And, I'm sure they're probably going to try and make some adjustments, and then we'll have to adjust also.
Well, you went into the 7th in your last outing down in Tampa. What was working well for you that start that you want to build off here tomorrow?
Yeah, I was just throwing a lot of strikes, getting ahead early, and forcing some early contact, and they were putting the ball on the ground, and we were able to get some quick outs.
When the cutter in is working well for you, how does that open up the rest of your arsenal?
Yeah, it opens up everything. Change up plays really well off that. You can run a four seam up and in on guys also, and I think it really just opens up everything.
When you guys were busy throwing seeds, I saw Luis Castillo looking back, and he's like, what did I get myself into? Just what's it like been getting to know him, and does he know what he's getting himself into with you?
I don't think he knows yet. He seems like he's going to fit in really well with us so far. I think he's still sitting back and kind of analyzing how we are as a staff, and then I'm sure he'll break in soon.
Does your process change at all, knowing that some of these teams you potentially are going to face in the postseason, especially at this time of the year?
No, I don't think you change anything. I think you just got to go out there and just worry about the next outing and not worry about what's going to happen in the future.
All right, thanks, Anthony. You didn't get hit by anything.
Yeah, thankfully.
All right, guys, back to you.
He said it wasn't all him, but we did notice that everything stopped when he went on the mic. Just saying. Here's Braden Montgomery, the only run for the Sox tonight. A solo shot to center in the 2nd inning. And a 4-pitch walk with 1 out in the 5th. That White Sox walk is presented by IDOT. Motorcycles are smaller and easier to miss. Look twice, save a life. It's not a game.
First man that Messick has walked. He's fanned 5, given up a couple of hits and just that 1 run.
So you hate to see a guy go down with an injury in Joey Bart, but that means another opportunity for Edgar Caro getting called up today.
And because you never really know how many opportunities you're going to get, each and every one of them is a big opportunity.
Messick sets his feet, fires, and Caro retired for out number 2.
Messick has had a couple of plays and made them both very well. He knows a catcher's running, so he knows he has some time to plant the back foot and then get the throw across. Throw is right there and records a 2nd out of the inning.
We've seen some more pop from Acuna at the plate. First time up, gave it a ride.
That wind wasn't blowing toward the left field corner. That had a chance of going out.
Bottom of the 5th. This half inning is brought to you by Prevagen. Nighttime here at Rate Field. A huge 3-game series starting against Cleveland. How about the fact we're going to see meaningful baseball here in August with the White Sox in first place?
And certainly hoping to see more meaningful baseball in September.
Acuna, as he so often does, gets the start against a lefty. as that fastball lands at the knees, called strike 3.
Follow our White Sox at ChicagoSportsNetwork.com, presented by Nationwide Insurance Agent Jeff Vukovich. Get to enjoy knowing the Vuk as much as you do the jingle at JeffVuk.com, because Nationwide is on your side.
Fourth time up for Stephen Kwan, who was 2 for 3 tonight.
Kwan is normally a Gold Glove left fielder, but with Martinez now in the lineup just about every day, Kwan shifts to center. They acquired Adele. He's an everyday right fielder. So a different type of outfield for the Guardians.
.80 pitches now for David Sandlin. His high is 91. Kwan's changed his approach at the plate as well. We saw last year he tried to open things up and hit for some more power. And then this year, getting back to his old self, just being that slap spray type hitter.
I mean, look, this guy's around 300 most of the time, and doesn't do himself any favors when he's trying to hit home runs, because maybe in a huge year he'd have 10. That's not enough to take 30-40 points off your batting average, which is something that will happen when you're not a power hitter but trying to act like one.
As Kwan turns on this one, will it stay fair?
Yes.
Off the pole. It has been all Cleveland so far here tonight. A solo shot to start the 6th.
Just the second home run of the year for Kwan. He has 3 hits tonight, 2 runs scored. And this is a breaking ball that just rolls in the zone. Now it looks like the pen is starting to stir.
Nine hits already from the Guardians. White Sox with just 2.
There is Trevor Richards loosening in the pen.
White Sox, the only team in Major League Baseball yet to lose 4 straight games, and they come in here loser of 3 in a row after getting swept by the Red Sox in Boston. Popped up as Doyle comes in center. No, excuse me, it's Montgomery unable to get there. That ball hung up for a long time.
It's going to go as a base hit, but somebody has to take control on that one. That was up a while. He can't see it. That's, I mean, for Doyle, that's probably his ball and probably would have been an easy play for him, except he never saw the ball. By the time he said something, there was no chance for Montgomery to come across and make the play.
Fly ball into right field as Braden Montgomery settling underneath. And there is the first out of the 6th inning. It's time now for a message from auto owners.
We customize your policy, so when the unexpected happens, you know you're covered. That's simple human sense.
So Sandlin now a new career high 92 pitches tonight.
Well, at this point, he certainly is taking one for the club because he never expected to go this deep pitch-wise into a game this evening.
You know, the White Sox are certainly excited about coming home here to the rate after a tough road trip. Big crowd, but unfortunately, fans have not been able to get involved as the Guardians have led this one from the start.
Guardians felt they did a pretty good job at the trade deadline to address the needs of the club without mortgaging any part of the club's future. And Adele is one of those guys.
Good curveball from Sandlin as Adele goes down swinging.
This is a perfect pitch, and Adele, who doesn't hit right-handers near as well as he hits left-handers, goes down on strikes. So that will be it for David Sandlin. And as he walks out, we're going to step out, and we'll be back with Trevor Richards.
Sports Network is brought to you by Wintrust. Different approach, better results.
Trevor Richards comes out for the 35th time. The ERA a tick below 3.5. And he's going to face the man who's been pretty close to a one-man gang here today. There you look at the numbers by Richards. Got a runner at first and 2 outs.
Angel Martinez drove in 2 with a single in the first, and a grand slam in the 5th. Picking up a career high 6 runs batted in tonight. This half inning is brought to you by Elgin Hyundai. Once again, 7 relievers used in the game last night where the White Sox fell to the Red Sox in 13 innings.
That's why Sandlin was out there for 5 1/3 tonight.
This one driven deep to right center field as Doyle able to run it down, showing off his speed. Are you ready for your winning moment? Find it at Wind Creek, Chicago Southland, where the action never stops. Play the hottest table games, enjoy the newest slots, and celebrate big jackpots. At Wind Creek, there's a win waiting for you around every corner. Chase Mydroff, top of the order. See if he can get something sparked for this offense. 1 for 2, a double tonight. Turns on this one. Rocchio backhand throw in time.
Nice play by Rocchio as he ranges far to his right. Doesn't have a chance to set his feet, just gets it over there in plenty of time. This one hit in the hole. On the move. Gets plenty on the throw.
Murakami is 0 for 2 tonight. Drills this one high in the air to right center field. Kwan at the wall. It is gone. A moonshot for Mooney. As the White Sox, their second home run of the night. Trying to get back in this one.
25 homers for Murakami. And that was a towering fly ball that looked like it was going to come down at any time. It did, but when it did, it was out of the park.
Oh, that'll get this crowd back in it. As Vargas sends one to center, but Kwan lining it up for out number 2.
Doesn't make it by all that much, but doesn't have to, as that one just refused to come down in the field of play.
That was the 3rd hit of the night for the White Sox. All have gone for extra base hits. As Grichuk lines it under the glove of Rocchio, the first single of the night.
Things looking a little better this inning as the boys, now that the lights have fully taken hold, have hit the ball pretty hard past the diving Rocchio.
You know, we had a proposal in the ballpark between innings. Maybe that's what this team needed, just to shift the mojo, get some positive vibes back going.
Well, if that really is the case, let's do it in the first or second inning from now on.
There it is. George and Tiffany. George gets down on a knee. I don't think we saw it. He was giving the speech, and Tiffany was motioning, hurry up. Get it out. I'm going to say yes. Just get it out.
The speech is one thing. Where's that ring again? Did you say there was a ring involved?
Steve, as soon as that thing was on her finger, she held it up for the camera. It was a huge rock.
There it is.
Congratulations to George and Tiffany. Yeah, you see that thing? It is sparkling from up here. I guess that's a lesson for guys. You don't even need the speech.
Short speech, big ring. It works every time. There's no problem with that.
Montgomery did not go around.
Corey Blazer at third base.
Two. Is that in the radio booth?
It was close. If it wasn't there, it was knocking at the door.
Was that DJ again? He made an incredible catch in Tampa Bay. He's been a magnet recently. White Sox putting together better at bats against Messick. As Montgomery swings over the top of that change to end the inning. Murakami with the long ball. Family Fan Can is brought to you by Malman Law. If you've been injured in an auto accident, they fight like family for you. Ooh, the campfire milkshake. It is appropriate on a hot, muggy night like tonight.
It's perfect for this evening. As you can see, improvised fans have joined the real fans, and there's a boatload of them tonight.
Doyle calling for this one. And Hoskins is retired as we start this 7th inning. Certainly not the way the White Sox wanted to get this series started against Cleveland. A 3-game lead over the Guardians and Minnesota in the Central. 3.5 over the Tigers coming into play here tonight. And the Twins with an 8-6 lead over the Brewers. That game in Milwaukee, bottom of the 6th inning. Detroit with the last game of the night. They are out west in San Francisco playing the Giants. And the air to left field as Grichuk runs towards the line and makes the grab for out number 2. All right, time for a trip down on the farm and go to Connor.
It involves a transaction note tonight. The White Sox announced they signed Joey Wiemer, an outfielder, to a minor league deal. He'll report to AAA Charlotte. At AA, Caleb Bonnemer with a home run, having a very nice season for the Barons. Rock Chalowski 1 for 1 with a steal. That game got suspended, but Rock Chalowski's production hopefully never will be. All in all, good night on the farm, boys.
Nice to see the progress of Rock Chalowski. You get a feeling that he's not going to be spending a great deal of time plying his trade in the minor leagues.
It was a great answer when we talked to General Manager Chris Guest. Asked him just how will you determine how much time he spends in the minors. He said the players will let you know what they're doing and when they're ready.
Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, that was a situation with Braden Montgomery. He just kept hitting everything in sight. And they got to the point where they said, you know what? He has proven all he needs to prove in the minor leagues. Now it's time for him to prove it in the major leagues. And he's in the process of doing just that.
Very interesting to have Hagen Smith, Tanner McDougal move to the bullpen as we have a challenge here.
The catcher is challenging.
ABS powered by T-Mobile.
The call is confirmed. Chicago has no remaining challenges.
As McDougal and Hagen Smith, two of the most promising young arms in the system, we could see them this season.
Well, I think one of the reasons, John, after this terrific play, one of the reasons is that they can control the innings more out of the bullpen. And I think for those young pitchers, that's what they're planning to do.
Time to look at the live line presented by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. We take a look at the odds on White Sox hitters to go deep tonight. As Brenton Doyle acquired at the deadline from the Rockies. Could take a flyer at plus 800. Into center field. And Kwan retired. Kwan with the catch to retire Doyle to start this bottom of the 7th.
Perfect night so far for Braden Montgomery with that solo home run and a base on balls.
There you go. High five and a picture. And a little TV time, too.
Can't beat a souvenir.
Montgomery fouls that one off himself. Feels like this young man is just scratching the surface of his potential right now.
Well, there's no doubt he's going to be a good one, and there's also no doubt that in all the phone calls that Chris got, and I'm sure he got a few, I would think Braden's name was mentioned more than a couple of times. Would you be willing? And the answer, of course, was no, because you know what the next question was. There's a young fan. You got a glove. Serves a couple of purposes. You can chew on it, certainly, and then protect yourself if anything comes your way.
I just love that because you can always think about baseball and the connection with being a kid, right? There's so many memories of playing catch in the backyard with your dad or your friends or going to your first game. As Montgomery swings through that heater, Messick still getting it up there at 97.
That's one of the reasons why he's been as good as he has been, is that he uses every part of the plate, very rarely uses the middle. But he can change speeds, and he does on his fastball as well as the other off-speed pitches, which is something that most young pitchers don't do a lot of.
Well, there's certainly runway if Edgar Carroll can get on a hot streak for him to take advantage of some open playing time. Joey Bart with a fractured hand. He's going to be out at least a month. Flips this one to short as Rokiel on the move makes the play. And the White Sox trail 8-2 after 7.
Just don't blink. You might miss something special. In! Attaboy!
Randall Grichuk mic'd up. Had a feeling that his partner in center was going to do something special tonight.
Well, he can go get him, whether he's coming straight forward or alley to alley. He's here because of that glove, and that glove is something special.
Right on cue as Doyle makes the catch to start this 8th inning. And we're going to see Randall Grichuk with a glove a little more often. As Will Venable has said, his defense has been something that we haven't utilized enough. By putting him out there, it enables that DH position to free up, and some other guys get a chance to get off their feet defensively.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, it's Murakami who's the designated hitter, so he's not going to play the field. Vargas has shifted over to first base and done a nice job of it.
What a game it's been for Stephen Kwan. 3 for 4, couple singles, and a solo home run his last time up in the 6th.
And up and going. Franco Alaman.
Grounder up the middle as Acuna makes the throw in time and retires Kwan out number 2. All right, tune in to Picks to Click in the postgame show with Chuck and Ozzy, presented by the Bob Lacurcio Auto Group. You're going to like buying a car this way. Tomorrow it is sold out, standing room only for Ozzie Guillen's night in Chicago. Well-deserved honor as his number will be retired.
Number 13, never to be worn again for the Chicago White Sox.
There it is. It will be unveiled as part of the pregame tomorrow. You know there's going to be traffic, so give yourself a little extra time. Add in at least another half an hour to an hour. Just get out here early. Enjoy some tailgating in the parking lot. You want to be inside the stadium for the pregame festivities. Acuna, the diving stop to his feet. What a play up the middle as Acuna flashing the leather.
Well, this is just an outstanding effort because this is ticketed for center field. Luis Angel with other ideas and gets it there in plenty of time.
Delivery of the game. Injured in Chicago? Lerner and Rowe is the way to go.
That is quite a play. And as so often happens, you make that play for Lerner and Rowe, you get the lead off the next inning. Franco Alamán comes out for the 15th time, his ERA at 3.77.
White Sox put Acuna in left field in Boston just to kind of test his versatility, but we have seen that he has really shined at shortstop this year. Knocked down by Rocchio, but no chance to get Acuna at first. A single to start this bottom of the 8th.
Pretty nice effort by Rocchio. But with the speed of Acuna, if you don't catch it on one try, you're not going to get it. Right here, when it comes out of the glove, that's a base hit. Acuna with very good speed knows he's going to beat this by plenty. Just a 5th hit for the Sox tonight.
Activity in the White Sox bullpen as Eric Fetty getting loose. Well, we highlighted Chase Meidroth in the open. It was that game July 21st. He went 0 for 4. The White Sox staff noticed something, so he moved his hands closer to his chest. Went 4 for 4 the next game. And he has been on a run ever since.
Almost ran into that ball. Fortunately, he did not. And it evens the count.
This is a team that doesn't quit, even though the Guardians have led this one from the start. As that sticks in the glove, strike 3.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Marquette Bank. Marquette Bank is Chicagoland's trusted neighborhood bank and home lender, so level up your banking with Marquette Bank at emarquettebank.com. Marquette Bank, love where you bank. Austin Jones out to do a little house cleaning.
Murakami with a solo shot his last time up. 25 home runs on the season. And to think, had he not gone down with that hamstring injury, he was up there with the leaders in Major League Baseball when he went down.
The first 2 months of the season, he had hit 20 home runs, driven in 40, and then lost 6 weeks of this year.
Just been incredible to see what he brings and how the other guys have fed off him. Murakami, Vargas, and Montgomery, now the big three. Murakami with 25 home runs. Colson Montgomery with 25, and Vargas not far behind with 24. Good count here. 3-1.
We'll take a look at the home run one more time. It's a towering fly ball. And it just never came down till it left the park.
Three-two. And the fastball at the knees, called strike three.
Looks like it had a little piece of the plate.
Well, the Terps off section is back going in the upper deck down that left field line, trying to provide some juice here. It is amazing how that trend has taken off across Major League Baseball. I mean, tell you, everywhere we go, people are just ripping their shirts off at games now. There they are.
Sam Antonacci comes out to pinch hit for Rando Grichuk. Carl Willis is coming out to give the scouting report on Sam. Time now for the upcoming schedule presented by Toyota. Let's go places, and the Sox will stay right here. 2 more with the Guardians and the off day on Monday, and then Cincinnati comes to town before the Sox head to Detroit.
A blast, and the White Sox are back in it. Antonacci went to the helmet, but forgot there are no challenges remaining.
Yep, you can go just to adjust it. That's about it at this point.
Fly ball to center as Kwan moving to his right. And that will end the threat here in the 8th. How cool is this? The White Sox Junior Division team are now Nike RBI World Series champs. So players from the organization's Amateur City Elite make up the 13 to 15 under team. They beat Detroit 3-1 in Vero Beach, Florida. The White Sox have now won 9 RBI World Series championships. The Reviving Baseball in Inner Cities RBI program provides youth from diverse communities access and opportunities to the game of baseball. Clap it up for them, the 13 to 15 under team getting it done.
That's really just an outstanding accomplishment for those young men that'll never forget that. And because of programs the Sox have, they have a chance to do that. So Eric Fetty comes on for the 25th time. Working out of the pen these days.
We always promote that Sox split, the 50-50 raffle. If you're ever wondering where your money goes, that's it. Programs like that allow these young men to travel all over the country and come back with championships. Ramirez, he will fly out to center. That's how we start this 9th inning.
Antonacci stays in the game to play left field.
It's not even just the game experience. I remember my first taste of travel ball getting out of my neighborhood. It was the coolest thing. I actually went down to Florida as well. And being in a hotel with kids your age and being able to meet teams from all over the country. It's just how you grow as a person. That's what makes these programs so incredible.
Well, that's one of the great things as we move forward. You have that type of availability. Our travel team was around the corner. We used to travel to the Sandlot. That was about as far as we could go.
But it's not cheap. And any of the parents who are watching this broadcast tonight, they understand it's not just the equipment, it's the travel, it's the fees involved with being a part of an organization. And that's why White Sox Charities does such an incredible job. Off the end of the bat. Mydroff going all the way back. Look at him make that sliding grab. With the range, Chase Mydroff getting it done.
Chase can do that as well as anybody. The memorable moment is presented by Prevagen, and this is quite a play by Mydroff. He just goes out. Make sure that after he makes a catch, he does a little slide so nobody can run into him. And makes the second out of the inning. Angel Martinez has made the huge difference in this one. In fact, he is the difference in this one. His 6 driven in, and it's a 6-run lead by the Guardians.
Fetty finds the zone. 3 balls and a strike here to Martinez. And Martinez will have to go back into the box. I know these guys, the players on the field, are a lot younger than me, but I was dragging all day today after getting back in late from Boston. Not easy with this big league travel. But Fetty still competing on the mound, gets the strikeout. We go to the bottom of the ninth.
Tonight we pay tribute to Petty Officer 3rd Class Maurice Harris of the United States Navy.
Showing love for Maurice Harris, our GovX hero of the game, one of our favorite moments here at the ballpark. Little ones enjoying themselves. Unfortunately, the White Sox find themselves down 8-2. Last chance here in the bottom of the ninth. Colson Montgomery swings over the top of that slider. One down. So much excitement heading into this series. But a 2-0 start for the Guardians, and they never looked back.
No, it certainly was a tough first inning, and then they put up 5 in the 5th, and that pretty much was the tale of this one. Stephen Vogt, who's done a fine job as a manager of these Guardians.
That's why Randall Grichuk has been preaching to these guys. Stay locked in, because things can turn quickly in a playoff race. You go 3-7 in a 10-game stretch, you can find yourself in second place. Doyle to center. And the White Sox down to their final out of the night. And it's time now for our mobile performance of the night, Braden Montgomery.
One of the highlights of this one, Montgomery in the second inning, hitting his 4th home run of the year, driving in his 23rd. He added a walk to that later on.
White Sox have done a great job bouncing back all season long, but if this one holds, it would be their longest losing streak of the season at 4. Braden Montgomery still swinging it. A 2-out single.
Just have to keep it alive. Braden able to do just that with his 2nd hit of the night.
Edgar Caro's 0 for 3. As the White Sox have said, the catching position is going to be very fluid to finish this season. The hope is that Kyle Teal can make his way back from that high ankle sprain, but those injuries are so tricky. You just don't know how his body's going to respond.
No, certainly there's enough time for him to come back and make an impact. But he's had a lot of leg issues, and you never really know. One thing you do know is if he does not come back, it won't be for lack of effort, because he is a prolific worker, doing everything he can to play in some meaningful games before this season is over.
I mean, you know, it's got to be frustrating for him with that hamstring strain back in the World Baseball Classic, playing for Team Italy. Then on his rehab assignment, tweaked his knee. And then when he came back, turned that ankle back on the injured list. Edgar Caro strokes that one into center field as Braden Montgomery takes the turn and goes to third.
Just keep on swinging it, boys. You don't want to be the last out. And Edgar keeps things alive. So runners at the corners. Sox still have one out to play with.
Bottom of the order, Luis Angel Acuna. It has been one of those nights as the White Sox down to their final strike. 1-2. Tapper, let's see, will it stay fair? Yes, it will. Third single. And the bases are now loaded.
Let's keep the line moving. You don't want to be the last man up in this game. Little tapper, and the only thing that Hedges could do is just look at it and hope that it rolls foul. Well, the Cleveland pen is up and going. That's one of the reasons why Carl Willis is taking as much time as he's taking. There is the closer, Cade Smith. A couple of base hits. Bring him in the game.
Last night at Fenway, Chase Meidroth off the Red Sox closer.
Just enough.
White Sox fans sticking this one out. Looking for a 2-out rally in the ninth. All three singles to load the bases. 1 ball, 1 strike. And once again, the Sox down to their final strike of the night. One-two pitch. And that's going to do it. Chase Mondroth goes down swinging. And the White Sox will lose the opener of this series to the Guardians 8-2.
2 more coming tomorrow night, Ozzie Guillen night. So should be a special night at the ballpark. Get your rest. We'll talk to you down the road. And as you can see, the Guardians shave a game off the lead.
All right, we do not have the broadcast tomorrow, but we will be back on Sunday for the finale of this series. For Connor McKnight, Brooke Fletcher, Steve Stone, I'm John Schriffen. Coming up after the break, stay tuned. White Sox postgame live presented by Ying.